Nikon has long been a staple in underwater and wildlife photography and has made some exciting advancements in the mirrorless market in the past few years. So we thought it's about time to break down our favorite Nikon Z-mount lenses for shooting underwater. Let's get into it. Let's kick things off going wide with the Nikon 14 to 30mm f4 lens. Now this is an all-around classic wide-angle rectilinear lens that topside and underwater photographers gravitate towards because it gives you a super wide 14mm on the wide end and still allows you to punch in a little bit to 30mm. Now for underwater wide angle work, you might also be looking at adapting the Nikon 8 to 15mm fisheye lens, which is a very popular option when shooting underwater. And the difference between this lens and a fisheye lens is that the 14 to 30mm has a rectilinear image, which gives you straight lines and less distortion, leaving your wildlife, wrecks, and dive buddies looking natural in the scene. The 14 to 30mm also has a relatively short minimum focus distance of about 11 inches, which opens up the option to get some classic close focus wide angle shots underwater. Behind a large 8-inch dome, the corners of the 14 to 30 are sharp, and at 14mm you get an extremely wide field of view. So this lens is perfect for shooting split shots at the surface or punching in a bit closer at 30mm. One possible downside is the slower f4 aperture. However, if you are shooting with strobes, then that shouldn't be too much of a problem since you'll be shooting at higher apertures anyways. But if you're filming in low light or photographing with ambient light, then you may feel a bit limited. Alright, next we're going to jump all the way over to the macro side of things with the Nikon 105 2.8 macro lens. Now this is a great macro option that you'll see a ton of Nikon shooters have because it's extremely sharp. Its narrow focal length of 105mm and long focusing distance makes it great for getting tight shots of subjects without getting close and scaring them off. And its fast aperture of 2.8 allows for some fairly extreme depth of field and great low light shooting. Now one drawback to this lens is its narrow 105mm focal length, which makes it a little difficult to shoot in surgy conditions. So like most macro shooting, it's best shot when the conditions are calm. But overall, if you're wanting to shoot macro on your Nikon system, the 105 2.8 is a great option. Now in the middle of the previous two lenses, we have the Nikon 24 to 70 f4 lens. Now this is a super versatile lens that offers everything from medium wide to semi-telephoto shots. It's also compact and lightweight, especially compared to the 105 macro. Now this is a grab and go lens. It's great for when you're not really sure what's going to show up on your dive and you want to be prepared for anything. At 24mm, you get a medium wide shot that still tells a great story of schooling fish, larger animals, or a reef scene. Move through the focal range and capture details and portraits, and then hit 70mm for some surprisingly close semi-macro shots. Alright, those are our favorite go-to lenses for Nikon Z-mount cameras underwater. If there's a lens that you shoot that wasn't mentioned here, we'd love to hear about it in the comments. And if you have any other questions, please shoot us an email to icolate@icolate.com.